In not so breaking news, Australia have dominated a team not called India at home once again. The latest was a 360 run demolition of Pakistan at Perth in what was, I thought, a very clinical display from Australia. It was one that I enjoyed watching, and I'm sure a number of other Australian fans enjoyed watching as well. I thought the most impressive aspect of the performance was not only the batting in the first innings, but the speed in which the bowlers adjusted to the red ball format. They've done a lot of white ball bowling in recent months, of course, that World Cup victory. But now to be able to adjust to red ball bowling and be so consistent across both innings was too much for the Pakistani batsmen to handle. But the fourth day belonged to Nathan Lyon, this hard-working, consistent and solid off-spinner, groundsman from South Australia back all those years ago, who has now joined Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath as the only Australians with 500 plus test wickets to his name. It's important to point out that his value goes beyond just the wickets and beyond just his sheer numbers. It's an argument that I make quite regularly, and why I've gone into bat for Nathan Lyon on the podcast before, or on my Twitter, or on the blog, is because of what he delivers for the attack. And I believe he's been the glue of the Australian attack for so many years now. I've seen some takes on Twitter today that his numbers aren't that flash, and that actually the fast bowling attack makes him look good. But what I will argue, I believe it's the other way around. I believe that there's an argument to be had that Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, and Josh Hazlewood don't have the level of success that they've enjoyed at the moment without Nathan Lyon in the attack. Now, that's not to say they wouldn't be successful bowlers otherwise, but maybe their numbers wouldn't quite be as good if Nathan Lyon wasn't there. The role Nathan Lyon has played is remarkable. Imagine in the Australian heat, you have trouble finding a consistent spinner who can hold things up. Australia actually had these issues post the retirement of the great Shane Warne. If you remember, in 2008-09, we lost to South Africa and we lost to England in 2010-11. What we were missing in those series was probably the spinner that can not only hold an end, but provide those wickets as well, that Nathan Lyon has done so well over the years, and he's been that glue in the attack. Lyon holding up an end all these years has enabled the captains to rotate the quicks from one end without really worrying about the effectiveness of the spinner from the other, because he's doing his job. Now imagine if you had an ineffective spinner, you'd have to bowl your fast bowlers for longer, and you run the risk of running them into the ground, and you don't want that in the hot Australian summer. From a bowling perspective, Lyon taking 500 wickets as a conventional spinner in Australia is unbelievable in itself. In terms of off-spinners in history from Australia, Hugh Trumbull is the next most wickets for Australia with 141. Nobody else has at least 150 test wickets for Australia as an off-spinner. This guy's taken 500 now. What I think he's done well over so many years has been his control of length more than anything. Yes, he gets that beautiful overspin and that beautiful dip and that flight, but it's the length that's made him so successful, in my opinion. He makes it difficult for the batsman to get down to him, and it's difficult to play him off the back foot as well. He gets it in that in-between length so often and so consistently. Not only that, since 2017, I'd say he's perfected the art of bowling in Asia. I think he's found a lot more success after some difficult early years trying to adjust in Asia. He's really contributed to some of Australia's best moments in the subcontinent over the last 6 or 7 years. The younger-faced, head full of hairline, started Test cricket in incredible fashion when he dismissed the Kumar Sangakkara first ball. I still remember that day following the ESPN Cricket Info commentary at university back in 2011. 12 years later, nearly 13 years later, he's gone on to take over 500 Test wickets now for Australia, which is quite incredible. But as this tweet shows, a first ball wicket doesn't always mean career success. Lyon has continuously honed in on his craft with that overspin, as I mentioned, a delight to watch. A few of his best performances that come to mind over the years, I remember his 2014 performance in the Adelaide Test against India, a game where Virat Kohli was outstanding, but Australia got away with the win. Lyon took 12 in that game. His 8 for 50 at Bengaluru in 2017. He gave us great belief that we could win our first series in India since 2004. Another cracker was his 5 for 83 last year in 2022 to help Australia win on very flat pitches in Pakistan. He took 13 wickets at Chattogram in Bangladesh in 2017. Australia had to win that test to salvage that series, and he's been superb as well in England throughout his career. I remember his 6 for 49 at Edgbaston. It was a masterclass in off-spin bowling in the 2019 Ashes. Speaking of the Ashes, Lyon's value, it was seen in the 2023 series. When we lost him to that calf injury, we weren't quite the same since. We missed that glue in the attack who would hold an end up and take those wickets as he did in the first 1.5 test matches. We weren't quite the same after that second test where he got injured. And that series just emphasised what his value is. If it's not taking wickets, he's at least holding up an end and allowing the other guys to do their thing. He's hoping Lyon goes on to play a lot more Test cricket for Australia over the coming years. He's got Glenn McGrath in his sights now, and who knows how close he can get to the late, great Shane Warne. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the CricBlog podcast. The links to the podcast are in the description. And you can also check out our socials. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching. Go Australia, and well done to Nathan Lyon.